Hello everybody. Today I thought I would take you along as I'm actually making something on the pottery wheel here. So what I'm actually going to be doing is making a beautiful cylinder, and then we're going to put a gorgeous pattern on the outside. And the reason we're doing this is going to be wax melters. So that's my plan at the moment. So you can see here already, this is some clay. I pulled up the center, so I've made it all ready so that we can start to pull up the walls, make it gorgeous. So I've already measured from one side to the other is 10 centimeters, I think. So let me get my ruler, and you can see roughly here, it's roughly about 10 centimeters. And, you know, I'm not sticking to an exact measurement, but anyway, that's what we're going to be doing. So we're going to be pulling up the walls, and then later we're actually going to cut an arch in it, and then that's where the tea light is going to sit inside it. And then we'll have to make a separate little bowl which will sit on top. So we will see my skill set, whether I'm up to doing that, but I'm very excited about it. So anyway, let's get going. Let's make it all beautiful, and I'm just going to keep filming, so I hope you enjoy. And now I'm going to go onto the wheel and make it. So when I'm actually centering this, what I'm actually doing is I make my wheel, which is my Viva wheel, go to around about 300 to 305 speed, and then I'm bringing this down. So this is set at 150 speed, and that's so that I can pull up the walls and make this gorgeous. And once we do this little bit, I will be on to showing you the next bit with the 3D piece that my husband made. So this is so I have actually, with this clay, so this is not straight out of the bag, I recycled this clay, and this is actually stoneware. So usually most of them that I do on the wheel that I've shown on my particular you know, YouTube video, most of it is not stoneware. Most of it is mid-fire. That's just what I've got used to. My favorite to date is the Keen's mid-fire with the speckle. That's not to say it's the only one to use, but I've definitely found stoneware harder, and that doesn't mean that it is. It's probably just me learning, because all the clays that you use, you obviously got to learn. And one thing that I have learnt along the way is not to leave the water in the middle. After each pull, we do it. So what I generally do is I like half stand up to pull the wall. I've found that the easiest. And it's not that I'm doing everything right, because I'm fairly new at doing pottery and throwing pottery. But I've thrown about 150 pieces, I'd say now, and I feel like I'm slowly getting better. And everyone tells me it's just time. So in between each one, I just clean it up. I really do like watching a few different pottery people, and Vaughan Smith is one that I watch, and that's what he sort of says, clean up in between each one. And I agree with him. Since I started doing a few things that he's shown, I really feel like I've definitely gathered a lot more success in my pieces, which is good, because it is frustrating when it doesn't work, isn't it? So and I feel like everyone does this at the start. I feel like what you actually do is we all kind of like poured maybe too much water. And then also another thing which I definitely did is my hands were getting too stuck. In other words, they weren't slippery enough. And then, of course, that causes, you know, a bit of a problem, doesn't it? So, and I think the better you get, the more easier it is to pull up the walls and, you know, work with what we're working with. So now I decided I didn't want to do what everyone else is doing, which is like I guess like a cylinder, tall cylinder. I wanted to make this more of a little fat kind of, almost like a beehive type one, because it only has to fit something very shallow in it. And now it's set at 150, so I'm just going to pull this down a little bit, 140, and we'll pull up the wall again. And then I think this is kind of as good as I'm getting. And then I'm going to do something else with a 3D printed tool that my husband made me, which I love. And the one thing with this tool is you definitely can't have the walls too thin. I noticed that if the walls are too thin, it doesn't work. Anyway, so we'll just clean out the water at the bottom. No one wants that. Clean the outside a little bit. And I do have this little tool, so we're just going to clean the bottom up. And I feel so proud of myself that I've recycled the clay and it worked. I was really nervous. I thought, oh, maybe I don't know how to do this. I mean, I know it's not that hard to do it, but when you're new at recycling it, I was like, do I just throw it out? And then I thought, oh, Rhonda, don't throw it out. Just, you know, get a grip and learn. So anyway, that's what I've been doing. And now we're just going to use this just to straighten the edges off a tiny bit. And also, if you're wondering what this is here on here, my husband created this for me. So this is actually, he's made me a batt system. Because I looked at batt systems online, they're really, really expensive. So anyway, so then we decided, look, how about we just make one? So that's what he did. He also made me this one. So last night I did use this one, which I really liked. So now I'm very nervous and I'm going to just put my wheel down to like 115. And basically you're going to hold it, you know, hopefully you can see, you're going to hold it like that and push it in as we're kind of doing this, but I'm very anxious about doing it. But if it doesn't work, I can, oh, see how, can you see how I made a mistake? Let's stop. I bumped out the wall, so that's going to make things a little bit tricky, isn't it? Wow. Anyway, let's start again. Let me just clean up the wall. And this is the thing about pottery. It's all about practice. Well, that was a bummer. I feel like every time I film something, something goes wrong. If I don't film it, it's like easy. It's always the way, isn't it? Probably because I got the camera sitting on one side as well. So let me just, I have to fix this up now because I made a bit of a boo-boo, didn't I? So, and it has a round side, so the round side's kind of meant to face me. So anyway, I'm going to just see if I can do what I did yesterday, which is you kind of have to be really careful and then slowly push in. And then you kind of want to push it in. Because if it doesn't go in, then it's not going to make these beautiful patterns. So let me just see. But if the clay's not thick enough, it won't work either. Oh, that looks better. Because I want it to look like a fairy house. And I feel like a fairy house should have these little... Can you see these little bumps? They actually look quite cute. But I did kind of make some line marks on it, and that was my own fault earlier. So anyway. And then what you can do is press from the outside in, which I might have to do that because when I bumped it before, I can see that the inside's not looking very pretty. So we're going to have to fix this again. Anyway, so we will try and get it in the same spot, which is always a bit more tricky. And it's catching actually on that silly thing. So I have to be really careful where I'm putting it. Actually, I feel like I'm going to ruin it, so I'm not going to do that. Anyway, this is it. And then I will show you my little batt system. Is when we take it off. I'll show you what I've done. So let's turn it off now. And then basically all we need to do is get this and you can just put it in there. You can, pull it off here. It's basically 3D printed. So these are 3D printed, and then they have little nodules which stick, and then this is basically the end result. And I can see here, like I've kind of scratched it a bit. But anyway, I don't think that's going to matter, my loves. I'm thinking it looks a bit nice. And then, of course, we're going to like wire it off underneath. But hopefully you can see the patterns looking a bit beautiful. And I did do another one yesterday, and then we're going to make a bowl that sits inside here. And the bowl will kind of flare out, so it will almost look a little bit like a flower. And then that way it's almost like a pretty statue when you're not using it. And then here we're going to carve out a little piece so that, but it's too soft, so I'll wait till this is leather hard, and then we'll come back and carve out a little piece. So now what we're going to do is I'm going to wire this off, and like I said, so let's just pop it back in here. I did do it yesterday when it wasn't in here. And then he's made me, I think we've made 4, but we're going to make like 20 of them or something like that. And I think I need a new wiring tool very soon. So, yeah. But, yeah, so if you're newer, like me, to pottery, I hope you're enjoying the process, the journey. It takes a long time to learn. I actually thought pottery would be 5 seconds. And then once I started doing it, I realised, okay, maybe I was a little bit naive. But yeah, so I'm going to let this obviously dry out. I'll show you the one that I did yesterday as well. And yeah, we can take a look at that one. So anyway, like I said, this is stoneware. So I do have shelves. One says stone and one says mid-fire, so that I'm putting them in the right place. So anyway, I'm going to do this one on that. And now let's just get the other one so I can show you. Obviously, I did the other one yesterday. And I'm going to just take it out because it's got plastic over it, just to stop it drying out too fast. And obviously it's on another one of these. And this is the one that I did yesterday. So this is mid-fire. I much prefer to work with this clay. Like, honestly, like, I mean, you just work with whatever you like. Let me just, there you go, that's a bit better so you can see better. Doesn't it look nice? And that's been done with that 3D printer. So this is actually probably okay. It's a little bit leather hard now, so I can probably take this off in a minute. And maybe what we'll do is we will start to put a little door in this one, because this is also going to, and look, can you see the difference in the shape? I really feel like I'm able to get a better shape out of mid-fire, but it's probably because I've just practiced making hundreds with mid-fire. But anyway, let's get going. We're going to cut this out and I'll show you how I'm going to do it. All right, everyone, we are back. So I've got a few things here that we need to make this, and I'll show you. I've already cut out this. Now you might be thinking, well, that's really wide. There's a reason it's wide, because these are the tea light ones that I use. They're really big, and I had to check that it would fit in there, and if I sit it in here, it literally fits perfect. So I know this is definitely the perfect size. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to show you a couple of things that I'm going to do. So first of all, this is my little mark, if you can kind of see that. My husband made me the little markers thing, and then I just push it into here. And then we are literally going to just pop it on here. And basically, I'm just going to put it at the back. So, and it's just really so I have my maker's mark on it. So from here, and this is still stuck on here because I haven't taken it off yet. And I'm not going to, I think I'll leave it. So I'm just going to give it a little score on this little mark. And then I'm going to literally do the same at the back. We'll just give it a bit of a score. And because I've already done this beautiful shape, obviously it's really not going to be trimmed. So, I mean, I could trim the top, but the top's pretty even. I was pretty careful at watching, and now I do have my slip here. And all slip is just a bit of clay and water. That's, for me, that's how I do it. Just going to add a tiny bit. So if you can kind of see this little bit here, just going to pop a little bit on that and a little bit on the back of the little stamp thing I made. And it's better to have more than not enough, because we're going to clean it up anyway later. And I'll show you how I do it. So then basically I know that's the right way, and then I'm going to pop it on here, and then I'll show you. So once it's on here, I'm literally going to wiggle it until it can't wiggle anymore, press it down, because if it's not pressed down, it will come off, it will pop off during the firing, and I don't want that to happen. And so basically with these as well, what I'm also going to do is I'm not going to glaze it. So then I just get my paintbrush, I go around the edge, just clean it up, because this will help it to seal it a bit too. And we can always clean this up later, but we don't want to have lots of that there. And usually what I do is sort of get the brush and just kind of go on the edge. And this, even though throwing on the wheel is more new to me, but slip casting and adding things like that isn't this new to me, because 30 years ago I did many, many hours of courses, 3 years of courses to learn all that. So anyway, that's what it looks like. So it's my little mark on there. I think it just makes it look a bit more professional. You could put it in the center up here if you really wanted to. But I didn't want to, because I thought maybe someone might not want that there. So anyway, I've got my water to the side. So now all I'm going to do is just sort of dampen this to neaten this off. And it's kind of a little raised from the inside. And you know, the thing too is, the one thing I think with pottery and any, really many crafts, until they're glazed or painted or sealed, they never look beautiful, really. They never look that beautiful until the glaze goes on, and then you're not even going to see any of these imperfections. But as my husband did say to me yesterday, he goes, well, this is a custom-made thing. People are not buying a factory item. They're trying to buy something that is handmade and from an artist. And I guess we're all artists, aren't we? Because we're making something beautiful. Anyway, you can kind of get the gist, can't you? And I'm just going to face it to me just so I can see a little bit better. And this does have a speckle in it too. So anyway, I'm happy with that. Doesn't have to be the most perfect arch. I mean, you can spend time arching it, which I've done. But of course it does have that wiggly kind of pattern, doesn't it? And then we'll make sure this is, you know, you want this to be a clear circle. And then I'm going to make a bowl which will sit on top. So that's what that looks like. So I hope you think it's beautiful. I love it. And I'll show you, let me just drop that in. So then that's what it's going to look like with its little, this little beautiful tea light in it. So I could have made it so that it wasn't as high. Maybe next time I will, but anyway, I just think it will add to the whole glow of something. And then of course they can put their melts at the top of that. If they want to use a smaller melter, they can too. They don't have to use a big one. But I think when I sell them, I'll sell them with one melter at the bottom. And yeah, so anyway, let me just, I don't know how I got a little twig in there, but I did. And then of course I'm going to put this back under its plastic and just let it slowly dry. So this one here is not stoneware. The one we threw on the wheel was stoneware. I decided to rebatch that one and redo it again because I wasn't 100% happy with that. But anyway, doesn't it look gorgeous? I hope you agree. And it kind of, I feel like the camera makes it look lopsided, but I promise you it's not. It's really a lovely one, and I feel like the shape is really good. The size is good as well. And then what you can also do, if you do a bowl, if you have a bowl that's sort of, I'm trying to think, see one that flanges out a little bit. But if you have ones that have a little flange and flange out a little bit, it doesn't have to sit perfect in here because the flange is like an edge that goes over the top. And that's my idea, to make it look a bit like a candle. Like I've got one here that's drying, I'll show you. Obviously this one's too high and I'm going to make it lower, but can you see how it's got the edge? The edge would literally sit in there. So obviously it needs to be smaller than that one, but that kind of edge is what we're talking about. And then that edge just sort of flows over the top. So anyway, I'm going to pop this back onto the shelf. We're going to let this dry, and now I'm going to organize the bowl. So I hope you've enjoyed just watching me do a little bit of one of these little melters. They're actually not as hard as it looks, and I was really scared. And I've only been throwing on the wheel since Christmas time that's just passed. So it's been 7 weeks, something like that. 6 or 7 weeks that I've been throwing on the wheel. But I have to be honest, I've thrown a lot of pottery, and I think that's the key. You just have to keep making lots and lots and, you know, seeing what's going to work. Anyway, bye friends. I'll see you on the next one. Bye.